Everyone knows that inside of prison, people tend to get wet up a lot. This video here, I'm gonna be breaking down one of the most brutal incidents that I've seen happen to someone. And through it all, it was to the wrong person.
Hold down, man. Suitcase this, my cell phone, I'ma charge it, don't walk with a limp. Get it knocked off or missing, you gon' get it. Next time I see you ass, you gon' leave airlifted.
What's up, everybody? You already know, man. Kfrogtv back in the building. Y'all go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and make sure you hit the notification bell so you can see it first. I want to tell everyone welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be speaking on an incident that occurred while I was locked up down here in the state of Florida. Okay? Y'all already know when it comes to being in prison, a lot of violence takes place. People get hit with locks, people get buck 50, people get wet up on a day-to-day basis all around the world, not just down here in Florida, but in states and places and countries all around. All right? Well, when things pop off in prison, you know, a lot of times it happens for a reason. But for this video here, I'm gonna be breaking it down to let y'all know when a stabbing took place and it actually happened to the wrong person. All right? What it was is a gang member had a fallout with someone over some money. So, you know, he wanted to put a hit on him. So he put a hit on this one specific person. But prison's such a small world, and you tend to run into people that have the same name. You understand? Like, for example, every compound I went to, there was someone named Cut. You feel me? Who 9 times out of 10, he was a cutthroat, which was the gang he was affiliated with. So his nickname was Cut. Or you got someone named Gangster, who was a GD. Or even if it isn't a affiliated name, it could be like Nut. His nickname Peanut, so people call him Nut. I ran across a bunch of people named Nut in prison. You feel me? Like, you know, you tend to run into people that always have a nickname that you've heard someone else with that nickname at a camp you were at before that. Or you'll get transferred to another camp and run into someone with the same name. So it's kind of like a small, you know, percentage when it comes to the names that you will come across people. And when I was in prison, Meat was the most common name. You know, someone whose nickname would be Demetrius or Money. You know, Money. They nickname Money. You feel me? So hey, Money, check me out. And then you'll go to another dorm. There's someone else in there's nickname's Money. You know, so this particular incident, this person that got wet had the same name as the person who was supposed to get wet. You feel me? So the gang member put a hit on this individual, and one of the foot soldiers of the gang wanted to take that. You know what I'm saying? They were like, shit, I'll take that plate. You feel me? I'll go eat them, I'll wet them, I'll get them off the compound. And what made it such a tragedy and a brutal situation is the person who took the hit wasn't even the same gang as the person who sent the hit. All right? That's how crazy it is in prison. For instance, the Bloods can put a hit on you. And then the GDs can stand up and be like, yeah, we'll take that hit. So now a GD will come wet you up for the Bloods. So that's kind of what took place in this situation, you feel me? Someone put a hit on someone, another gang's little wildin', you know, gang member who wants to earn his stripes was like, shit, I'll call that, I'll take it. Boom, let me get it. He got him a razor blade. He went and he tried to catch this person slipping. And the person he ended up wetting up, even though he had the same name, he fell under a whole nother gang. So now you got 3 gangs involved. You got the one who put the hit, the one who took the hit, and the one that got hit. You see what I'm saying? So there's 3 different gangs involved now on this one simple mistake. Now, he went towards the dorm and he was like, oh, I'm gonna catch them slipping whenever they do, you know, I guess they do call outs for when you leave the dorm and you go to walk. When we was at the canteen window at the time, me and my dorm, you feel me? When the whole hit decided to go down and the whole thing took place, all the officers ran past the canteen windows like 10 deep, see them all running and shit, and next thing you know, they got someone whose whole face is cut open and everything. The person whose face was cut open was from another gang, you feel me? He was a Zoe who got his face ripped open. And he actually wasn't the person who was supposed to get hit. That just shows that the person before him who hit him wasn't paying attention and didn't actually get all the information he needed, the description of the inmate before he actually went to put his hands or a razor to him. You know what I'm saying? So once that happened, now the Zoes kick up a beef because they got wet by this other individual that was blood, all right? The person who put the hit was a cutthroat. So the cutthroat put a hit on a Zoe. You feel me? That's what it looks like. And the blood took it and did it. But really, that ain't what it was supposed to be. The person who was supposed to get hit wasn't even affiliated. You feel me? It was supposed to be a low-key, just a, how much? I'll do it. Give me the money. I did it. That's basically how it was supposed to go down. But it didn't go down like that. So now you got this gang member that went and wet this Zoe up. So now it looks like the Bloods and the Cutthroats are against the Zoes. You feel me? Because one of their brothers got hit on the house. And the way it turned out was so brutal. What they ended up doing is it sparked up a war. And the Zoes started crashing against the Cutthroats and the Bloods. The Zoes didn't trust no one. At that time, they felt like everyone was coming together to get them off the compound. You feel me? When it was all just a misunderstanding. You know, they go holler at the Cutthroats, and the Cutthroats are like, nah, bro. Hell nah, bro. It was a mistake, bro. Your brother wasn't supposed to get wet up. Well, they don't want to hear that. Now, two Cutthroats get ran up on the rec yard, and they get wet up by some Zoes. You feel me? Boom. Airlifted. One of them left airlifted. The other one was just put in the infirmary. You see what I'm saying? Because it's like, you take one of mine, I'm going to take one of yours. But really, they was on some shit like, we all going to wreck out. There's no way you're going to get us off the compound. We're going to make sure some of y'all get off this compound with us. So, how it went down is, it was like a 2-3 day like spree of people getting wet left and right. To where they locked the compound down and they were doing control movement. They made us walk from our dorm whenever we wanted to go to chow or canteen or the rec yard. They made us walk with our hands on our heads like this. And there was like different like pit stops with officers. So officers can see that you got your hands on your head. They extorted like through the compound. They walked us to where we were supposed to go. You feel me? Because as soon as they left the compound, people were getting wet all over again. And what happened is the Bloods, because one of the Bloods was the one that took the hit, he ended up, you know, some of his brothers ended up getting flipped inside the school building. You know, because when you go to school building, you're put in a classroom with whoever's in your class. They could be in a different dorm. They can not live with you. They could be a different gang, whatever it is. So a couple Zoes took flight on some Bloods inside the school building. So the Zoes were going to make it known, you feel me? Like, if y'all trying to get us, you know what I'm saying? We're going to go out with a bang. And that's what they were doing, because the Bloods lost 3 Bloods inside the school building that day over that. You feel me? They got wet up. They got hit. One of them got hit with a lock or whatever it was. They got put in confinement. They're getting shipped, you know? And then, boom, 2 Cutthroats. So the Zoes were kind of making it, you feel me, to where anyone who was looking on the outside in, like me, you would think they're all trying to get the Zoes off the compound. But really, it was all just a misunderstanding about who got wet up. And once it was like going on for 2-3 days, the way it ended up turning out was the Bloods let the Zoes and the Cutthroats had to like do it also, but they let them eat their brother, the one who wet the wrong person. He was like plated. You know what I'm saying? And to me, I'm like, damn, that's kind of creep, because he knew what he was getting himself into. He didn't take that plate, you know what I'm saying, from the Cutthroats without, you know, making, you know, his brothers knew he was going to take that plate and go wet someone up for a different gang. They didn't have no problem and then stop him then, you know what I'm saying? Now that he wet the wrong person, even though the person had the same nickname, you know, they just got tired of losing different soldiers because they don't know if you got money going on. You don't know if you're selling phones. You don't know if you're booming Tunchi. You never know what the gangs got going on as far as financially. They might be plugged in and might, you know, have them a good old run with money. You feel me? So no one wants to risk losing everything they got. So they literally gave the Zoes, in order to stop the war after they lost a couple of their brothers to them, they literally gave the Zoes the green light to eat their own brother. You feel me? And then to make sure it was a mistake, the Zoes, you feel me, was still going after the Cutthroats. And then the Bloods just fell back. So it was still going between the Cutthroats and the Zoes. But the Cutthroats ended up participating and to cancel the war with the Zoes. They ended up going with the Zoes to eat that blood. You see what I'm saying? Like, just, it's crazy. And to me, it was a real brutal ass situation, because I'm talking about when people get wet, especially at Charlotte CI, that shit don't stop nothing. It literally, bro, like it makes you feel like an inmate's life don't matter. That's exactly how they make that shit look. Someone get wet up, fucking officers run up with their mace guns and all this different shit. Everybody drops on the ground like this and shit like that, and then they'll get the person who got cut, and they won't even find the person who cut them, or if they do, whatever it is, there's still blood on the floor. You know what I'm saying? And I told this in my very first video of mentioning when I got to Charlotte CI. The blood trails that you see look like rust on the fucking floor. Looks like trails of rust when really those are blood drops. You know what I'm saying? So here, you go to the rec yard, certain places you'll see it looks like a pile of rust. That's blood drops. Like everywhere you look, you're gonna see this shit looks like rust, but it isn't, it's blood. You know? And as much as people get flipped and get ate and nothing happens about it, you know, even if they catch the person that did it, all they do is transfer them. Oh, you go to CM, that's it, control management. Now you just live in confinement. That's not really, you know, that ain't shit. So it's like an inmate's life don't matter, you feel me? If you were to wet up an officer, like a CO or something in there, like the gang sergeant has cuts on his face and shit, you feel me, from getting attacked and stuff. If you were to hit an officer, I guarantee you they charge you totally different. Which, it's common sense, just like here on the streets. If you beat up a civilian or you beat up a police officer, how much more time you think you're gonna get? We already know the answer to that one. So, when this shit went down, there was so much blood spilled, and them Zoes were doing what they had to do, you know, to hang on. You feel me? And I fought with the Zoes 1000, you feel me? Because I'm from down south. Down south. I'm from Florida. Down south is where that shit come from, you feel me? Them Z's come from down here. You go to my county jail, it's flooded with Z's, you know what I'm saying? So, when you're in a different part of the, you know, the state, and you run into, you know, Zoes that are from down your way and shit like that, off rip, 9 times out of 10, if you got that L on your tag or that B for Lauderdale or for Broward, you know, they gonna fuck with you feel me? They might not fuck with you to where y'all are like talking and cool and shit, but if someone try to put down on you and you're standing up for yourself, but they decide to try to jump you, or the other people decide to try to extort you, if there's a bunch of them and you're standing up for yourself, they ain't gonna like that. They gonna take it as if you're trying to bully this person. This person is from Broward County. This person is from Lauderdale, where we from. You feel me? So they might intervene and be like, man, it ain't nothing, bro. You from Broward, boy. Now, if you don't defend yourself and you let them take your shit, or you let them extort you and you start paying them and stuff, then 9 times out of 10, most likely they ain't gonna, you know, say shit. They gonna be like, oh, he a bitch. We ain't finna defend and stick up for no one who ain't gonna stand up for theyself. You get what I'm saying? Or, you know, you might get put in there with some real savage ass Zoes that see you are paying rent and breaking it off, and they might intervene and go to and step on those people's toes and try to start a war with that gang and make it seem like it's for someone who's from Broward, where they're from, and then they'll stick up for you to get them off your trail, but then they'll try to extort you. You see what I'm saying? So you never really know. Everybody's bid is different, you feel me? But all the Zoes I came across, boy, they were my dogs. Straight up, I can name probably 70 of them right now on camera if I had to. You feel me? But you know, they was doing their thing and make a name for themselves. Everywhere you go, no matter where you go, they got a name. And when that shit went down, it literally looked like the Cutthroats and the Bloods were trying to team up against the Zoes. Feel me? For anyone who don't really know, when it comes to this gang shit, the Cutthroats and Zoes are usually the ones that bump heads. They're like rivalries. Like you got the Bloods and the Crips, where you got the Cutthroats and the Zoes that literally are like, you know, they bump heads a lot. You feel me? And it's got a lot to do with the down south, up north, you know, type shit, because these Cutthroats come from Jacksonville, you feel me? And I met some cool ass cuts along the way too, you feel me? Now, when the Zoes were rocking out against these two gangs, like I said, from everyone else's point of view, it looked like they were teaming up to get the Zoes off the pound, you know? And really it wasn't. The Zoes were just standing up for one of their brothers that got wet on the house. You see what I'm saying? And they did a damn good job getting 3 Bloods off the compound in the school building and 2 Cutthroats off the pound, off the rec yard. You feel me? They did a good job, because at the end of the day, even though that person wet the wrong person, and even though that person didn't mean to wet that person, they thought they got the right person, and you know, they were on contract, they got paid to wet this person up, and they hit the wrong person, they still managed to where the Bloods backed up, charged the 3 Bloods of theirs that got wet to the game. They didn't even retaliate for them, and they put their own brother on the plate, and then made it to where the Cutthroats fell back, and they just said, you know what, fuck it, we'll go with you too, to show, you know, it was nothing but business, to show you it was a mistake. You feel me? Now, if them Zoes wanted to do what they did and they didn't, you know, handle up and they didn't wet who they needed to wet, if they didn't start taking shots at both, you know, organizations, who knows? Maybe they would have clicked up and got them off the pound because it didn't look like they stood up for themselves. It looked like they had more numbers connected than the Zoes by themselves, which they did. But them Zoes was on some shit like, well, boy, it is what it is. You take one of mine, I take one of yours. An eye for an eye type shit. Ain't no way we going alone. We all getting shit from this motherfucker. That's how it was, you feel me? And the person who took the hit, you know, that right there, bro, just would flip your whole mind when it comes to, you know, being a gang member. Because it shows, look at the shit you do for your gang, you know? Look at how much you represent your gang. You know, you put yourself on a platter, literally. You've been plated because you took a hit and you hit the wrong person, you know? And at the end of the day, you've been cool with your brothers. Y'all ate together. Y'all went on fucking robberies together. Y'all are like a family. You feel me? Y'all are literally family. A lot of people become gang members because they don't have family or friends or nothing to look forward to at all on the streets. So the gang is their family to them. So you put your neck on the line and you're so faithful and loyal to your gang and your organization that you risk your life so many times, and you're fully committed to push that shit, to represent that shit and let people know what you stand for. And the next thing you know, boom, one thing happens and they turn their shoulder on you and give the other people the green light. Now you're in prison. You feel me? You get flipped, you get wet, boom, 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 because you wet a Zoe. Now the Zoes come wet you, boom, 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 boom. And then you're in confinement and you're looking at your brothers to retaliate and they turn their shoulder on you. So now you're like, hey man, I'm saying hola, what the fuck? You feel me? Next thing you know, boom, you hear through the grapevine from someone else that they gave them the green light to eat you. So now you feel betrayed by your own gang. So now when you're in confinement, 101 things are going through your mind. Because since you got wet by a different gang, you know, you're going to think, when I go somewhere else, is that gang going to be after me? And then your brothers turned their shoulder and allowed it. So now when I get to this other camp I'm going to, are my brothers going to have a green light on my head off rip? Are my brothers going to be my brothers? Do I even look at them the same? I feel so betrayed. You feel me? I feel so tried by my family that when I get to another camp, I can't fully look at these brothers of mine and trust them. Because I did that with these and look how it turned out. You see? And then now you got a whole different bid experience in front of you. You see? That's what happens to a lot of people inside of prison. One little slip up, boy, and you're done, though. You know? But you know what it is? It's the life you live. You signed up for that shit. You signed up for that job. You got to be ready for what comes with it. Whether it's consequences and repercussions, you got to keep your head up at all times. And you know what they say for gang knowledge, every brother ain't your brother, you know what I'm saying? Which is true, you see? And all he did was by mistake, he hit the wrong person. But the Bloods were cool with him hitting whoever it was. And then you think about it, in his mind, he thought it was the Zoe. So you know damn right well, he told his brother, or one of his brothers, the Bloods, he let them know, yeah, I'm finna go hit that Zoe up. I'm finna go hit that Zoe up, money, I'm finna go wet him up. You see? And then, you know, them Bloods were like, shit, it is what it is. Do what you got to do then. Fuck it. If they want to go to war, we'll go to war. Then the war pick off, and then all because your brother hit the wrong person, you're not willing to back him. You're not willing to rock out. Y'all done lost a couple heavy hitters on your team. You feel me? In the school building, a couple of your threats got wet first. People that were considered a threat got caught slipping. You feel me? And then they're off the pound, so now you look like you ain't got enough soldiers, or you ain't got none of your top flight soldiers to go to war. So now you want to retreat and then you leave your brother on the plate. That's what they basically did. But in all reality, even I know this. I know he wanted to went forward with the hit without mentioning it to his brothers. Because then if he would have did that, then they would have left him on that plate and his own brothers would have wanted to hit him. You see? But instead they just, you're food now. Seafood, eat food, or be food. You feel me? And that's how that shit went down. That's why if you ever do anything in prison, you got to make sure you get the full description. You better read the small print. Literally, boy, you better figure out, you got to listen, you got to make sure who you hitting up ain't no gang member. Make sure you know exactly where the person lives and what dorm, what fucking wing, and all that. Don't just be like, oh yeah, he stays in E dorm. All right, well, quad 1, 2, 3, or 4. You see what I'm saying? Like, you got to know all that shit. So that way, if you want to participate in some violent shit and some violent acts, you're ready for what comes with it. Because once you start with the violence, it don't end. Violence is like a continuing cycle. It's like a repeat. It's going to keep going. You know how they say you live by the gun, you die by the gun. Well, in the chain gang, you live by the knife, you die by the knife. That's facts. That's literally facts. You see what I'm saying? There's people in there that are living by the knife and dying by the knife every single day in prison all around the world. You feel me? And I just thought it was crazy because there was so much bloodshed between these 3 organizations when it was all just a mistake. It was all just a misunderstanding. The person who took the hit didn't read the small print, basically. Did not get the full description of who it is he was wetting. Off rip, it should be a red flag in your mind that, okay, y'all want to pay me to wet the Zoes. Well, then that's going to start a war with my brothers and their brothers. Let me go holler at my brothers and see what they're talking about. Go holler at my brothers that hey man, they want me to wet this Zoe up over here. Bum, 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 bum. You feel me? And if I still go through with it, then that lets you know my brothers were with it and are going to back me. And they already got it locked in their mind. They're already explaining the words to each other, spreading word around the pound to let everyone know we're about to start a war with the Zoes. You see, that's how it basically went. Because that boy wanted to make that move or that first step without a green light from his own brothers. But then they left him in that gutter. That shit'll make you feel so betrayed that you don't know how or what is gonna happen at your next camp. Are you gonna trust your brothers? Are the gang members that, the cutthroats and the cutthroats and the Zoes both help flip you? So when you go there, are the cutthroats and the Zoes gonna be after you? Are your own brothers gonna want to eat you because they considered it a fumble? Like you fumbled, you flopped. You feel me? That's why they did that. That's gonna be the reason behind it. You got ate and flipped by us because you fumbled, you flopped. When all reality, how the hell did I fumble and flop when I got the okay from my organization? By telling them he was a gang member, he was a this. You see what I'm saying? But they do that to save face on their own end. Now you might go to this camp and you ain't gonna be able to trust them. You're gonna probably think they're out to get you, that you might possibly wet up one of your own kind because you're jumping the gun. You may feel like they're out to get you, that you might jump the gun and hit up one of your own kind, the same organization that you've been pushing and rocking with for the last so many years. Same shit you lived for that you considered a family. If you could fast forward from when you first started repping that shit, if you could fast forward 5 years later, you never would have thought or seen that you would be beefing and going to war and wetting up your own kind. That's what a lot of people do not fail to realize. They don't think long term when it comes to this gang shit. I got respect for all gangs, you feel me? Because I know some real ones, some real soldiers, heavy hitters, ones that represent and will rock out to the death about their shit, you feel me? That's why I got respect for all gangs, and I've had respect from all gangs, you feel me? Shit's crazy. But if he would have read that small print, none of this shit would have happened. And then this whole big ass brutal fucking thing between the 3 organizations never would have went down. But anyways, man, I'm gonna wrap this video up. I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all already know, man, stay tuned. Keep them rats, snakes, squares, and clowns out your circle, man. And no matter what you do, get you some money and do what's best for you and your family. And stay the fuck out the chain gang. Till next time, this Frog.